Live from Sin City, it's the Socks and Pinstripes Podcast. And now, here's the star of the show, Diet Dr. Griffin!
This is Diet Dr. Griffin back with another episode of the Socks and Pinstripes Podcast. Back from my road trip last week where I was on the East Coast, and Shane here is also on the road this week. Where are we at, Shane?
We are in Albany, Oregon, and yes, it does exist.
Well, I'm sure there's probably more than one Albany besides the one that everybody knows as the state capital of New York.
Yes, I'm sure there's probably like 50, close to 50, one in each state. So
Yeah. Well, I'll be checking that out after the show just to make sure.
I mean, we got to have the facts straight. So
Yeah.
But tell us more about your travels, Griffin. Yours are actually baseball related. So
Yes. For those who don't know, I was in Washington, D.C. last weekend. I thought about doing an episode of the show, but I had forgot my laptop's power cable. And I always forget something. I don't know if you're the same way when you travel, Shane, but I
forgot my workout shorts this trip for whatever reason. Packed everything except for those. So
yeah, I've had trips where I honestly forgot to bring underwear. That happened to me when I went to Chicago a couple years ago, and I literally had to go to a Target and buy underwear in downtown Chicago.
Yeah, well, at least you got to go to the Target in downtown Chicago. So
yeah. I probably would have gone there anyway to buy like a soda or something just to throw in the fridge.
Yeah.
But anyway, I was in Washington, so I got to go to Washington National Stadium, and I also took an Amtrak over to Baltimore to go see the Orioles play. So I got to knock off 2 baseball stadiums in one trip, which was awesome.
And what stadium did you like better?
Well, I think Baltimore's was definitely the better stadium. Now, I'm thankful that Shane here talked me out of my original plan, which was to. Well, let me explain. What I ended up doing was I ended up going to Washington for 2 days, went to Baltimore for 1 day because I wanted to go to Gunnar Henderson bobblehead night, and that was a night game. So I stayed in Baltimore one night, and then I went back to Washington, D.C. the next day. And Amtraks were like dirt cheap. So, I got like $9 each way going from Baltimore to DC. It's like a 40-mile something ride. So,
oh man, that's awesome. Only $9.
Yeah.
Wow.
And yeah, I mean, I still have to lug my luggage around and everything, but yeah, going from there each way was nice because when I took when I got into Baltimore, I flew into Baltimore because Southwest Airlines has has one of their hubs there, so they had nonstops from Vegas to Baltimore. I was like, okay, I'll just do that. But my original plan was to go to Baltimore for the entirety of the trip, and then just go to DC for 1 day and then come back. And I'll tell you, when I was in Baltimore for like 1 hour, I realized that was that was the right decision to just go to DC instead and be in Baltimore.
Wait, why was the decision so easy?
Because I knew within an hour of being in Baltimore that I was basically in East Coast Detroit.
Oh, gotcha.
And I was at Detroit last year, so I was like, there's like nothing here.
Yeah.
It's run down. It's kind of dingy. The stadium in Baltimore is great, but we'll get to that because I went to Washington, D.C. first.
Okay.
And I went to a Nationals Rockies game in the middle of the afternoon. So it was not that many fans were at these games. So I'll just say that at a Thursday afternoon game, considering that the Nationals and the Rockies are 2 of the worst teams in the National League this year.
Yeah, I was gonna say 2 teams with nothing to play for in an afternoon game in the middle of the week.
Yeah, I mean, it was the stadium was nice and I enjoyed the vibe of the National Stadium. I don't remember when it was actually built, if it's in one of the newer stadiums, but it definitely is a decent stadium.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not
Did you
great,
just
but
go
it's not.
sit wherever you wanted to sit because there was no one there?
I probably could have, in all honesty. I
But you
um
didn't.
I splurged a little bit for a nicer seat, and
Okay.
I got a seat over around the third base side. Um, I kind of am a closet Rockies fan.
Yeah, that's right.
I have just
Right.
had this weird fascination with the Rockies, and over the years, just because of their ballpark and their environments just being completely different than every other baseball place, and trying to come up with a way for that franchise to win. I feel like the baseball is better when the Rockies are good.
Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna agree with you. So
Yeah. So I got to see Charlie Blackmon staring out of the dugout because he wasn't playing that day, and I kind of cried a little inside because he didn't play. I really wanted to see Charlie Blackmon play.
wasn't he playing like the next day, right?
He
You
played the
missed him
night
by 1 day.
before.
Oh,
I
okay.
should
Yeah.
have known that, you know, Patrick Corbin, left-handed pitcher on the mound, Blackmon wasn't going to play that day.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I did get to see him in uniform, peeking out of the dugout with that, that historic beard of his.
That is right. That is legendary, the beard.
Yeah. And so in the other podcasts that I do, I picked the Rockies to win because they were going up against Patrick Corbin, who is like the worst pitcher in baseball the last 3-4 years. He's led the majors in losses. Just
Nice.
terrible pitcher. He was like 2-12 going into, or 2-13, one of the two, going into that game with like a 5.95 ERA. And Patrick Corbin threw 6 innings, 1 earned run, and the Nationals won.
Perfect. That a boy, Patrick.
And it was Patrick Corbin's 100th win.
So cool. Good for him.
It's pretty crazy that like he actually made it to 100 wins considering how bad he has been.
Yeah, really.
His last good year in Washington was his first year there in 2019 when they won the World Series. He was a good pitcher that year, but he's been a dumpster fire ever since then.
Yeah, that's for sure. So,
But yeah, the Nationals were cool because they had all the presidents racing.
oh, that's pretty cool. Like for the seventh inning stretch or whatever.
I don't think it was during the seventh inning stretch, but they had them racing during the game. They
Oh,
had
okay.
like I think it was Washington, Lincoln, Jefferson. I think Teddy Roosevelt was the other one.
Now, is it like the like beat the flash thing that they do in Boston?
No. No, it's more like how in Milwaukee they have all those sausage meats and stuff racing.
Oh, okay, yeah. So
More
they
like
just
that. It's the guys in the costumes, the mascot
gotcha,
costumes racing.
gotcha.
And I
It's
forgot
always
who.
fun to watch the drunk guy try to beat the Flash in the Green Monster. So.
I think they do that in Atlanta too.
Oh, that's even better. I need to go down to Atlanta. So.
I don't remember them ever doing the Flash in Boston. I think you might have that mixed up.
Oh, maybe it just is Atlanta. Yeah. Okay.
I think it was like
That
the
makes
freeze.
sense.
I think it's the freeze down there. I think is what it is.
Yeah, it's like some character. He's in a white suit, and then it's
Yeah,
some drunk guy
I
trying
think
to
it's
beat
the
him.
freeze, and I think it's in Atlanta that's
Okay.
happening because
All
I
right.
remember seeing one of the Levitard guys I think run that. So
Yeah, that.
Nationals Ballpark, if you're ever down there, it is a good place to watch a game. It's down on the Navy Pier section of Washington, near a lot of water. There's some good waterfront restaurants and stuff to go down to and see. It's a very lively area.
Oh, okay.
I mean, I can't imagine how raucous the place was when the Nationals were really good that a few years ago. Would
Oh
have been
yeah,
great
they
watching.
won the World Series. Yeah, that would have been crazy.
They had this section called, I believe it's called the bullpen, which is like the whole district is kind of all entertainment and restaurants and stuff. But they had this bullpen area. It was like this kind of free drinks, well, free to enter, but you buy drinks and food there. And it's like this little box almost where you can put like a few thousand people standing room only and have them watch the game
Oh, that's pretty cool.
on like a big screen. Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's a great idea too, because it's probably cheaper than in the stadium. So if you just want to like hang out with friends down in like that area, then You have an
Yeah,
option. So.
and Washington D.C. was really nice because it's like a good mix between like historic and modern. They have a lot of
Okay.
modern stuff down there, but it's still got all the historic vibes of Washington D.C. with all the monuments and everything down there. So
Yeah.
it's a great vibe to go. If you were gonna do this trip, definitely good to try to do both stadiums in one go. But I would definitely stay in DC, go to Baltimore for like a day game or an earlier game, and then just come back. Same.
Okay.
I wouldn't bother trying to stay in Baltimore for reasons we're gonna get into in a little bit here.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Let's get to these reasons, Griffin.
Yeah. So Baltimore, there's not really a whole lot going for it besides just going to the teams.
Yeah.
Now, if you like seafood, Baltimore is known for their seafood. I am not a big seafood person, mainly because I kind of have some allergies related to seafood, unfortunately.
Okay. I could
Uh,
probably eat my weight in soft shell crab, so maybe I should get
yeah, yeah.
it.
I thought about getting they had crab cakes and stuff at the game, and they had
Yeah.
like a crab sandwich, and I was like, I'm not paying $28 for a crab sandwich.
Yeah. I mean,
Sorry.
especially at the game is probably, way marked up. So,
Yeah, and the sandwich was like the size of a baseball.
oh, geez. Wow. Yeah. Definitely no. Hard
I
pass
saw
on
one.
that.
I was in line. I was thinking about getting something. I was in line, and then I saw the sandwich. And then when I got to actually see what the price of it was, I was like, nope, not doing that. I ended up getting a cheesesteak instead, which was still pretty light.
Yeah.
Yeah, I felt very
I've
ravenous
I've
that day.
never had an actual East Coast cheesesteak. I've had a cheesesteak on the West Coast, but apparently that's different. So,
I don't think what I had was a fair representation of a cheesesteak. I'm gonna have to probably have a real one whenever I make it up to Philadelphia at some point.
apparently Pittsburgh does a pretty good version too, although they fight about whose is better. So,
Well, that's going to be a good debate to have because I'm definitely going to make it up to Pittsburgh some point too. Pittsburgh has one of the crown jewel ballparks in
yeah,
baseball, and
and
that's
it's right
definitely
on the river there too. So,
yeah. I've O'Neill Cruz actually hit one into the river a few
oh yeah,
weeks
I tried
ago.
to talk about that
Yeah.
last week or the week before. Yeah, yeah.
So anyway, Camden Yards is one of the best ballparks in baseball. It's got
Okay,
a
did you
real.
sit in the splash zone? Please say yes.
No, I did not sit in the splash. I wanted to sit in the splash zone, dude, but when I was looking at the tickets, they weren't really selling single tickets for that. And the
Okay.
ones that they were selling were like $300.
What? Splash zone is $300. That's like Diamond Club prices.
Yeah. Yeah, like
Yeah,
the
yeah.
seat and that's not even like a good seat. It's
I
just
know
because
exactly.
it's the gimmick of being in the splash zone. They charge like $300 to be there. In
Wow,
the next
that's
section
so
over, the seats were
stupid.
$50.
That's so stupid. Wow, I didn't
Yeah.
realize that. You would think they'd be like $20, especially because they just spray you with water whenever. So,
Oh no, they gimmicked it up so that everybody was it was like $300 to go to that one.
wow.
Yeah, so I actually ended up getting seats a little further down left field line, but still kind of relatively close to third base. And honestly, these tickets in Baltimore were not that expensive.
Oh, that's awesome.
And that's surprising because I went to the Baltimore Orioles and the Houston Astros. So like,
And it
two
was a
really
bobblehead night too.
bobblehead night too. Yeah, two really
Yeah.
good teams. I got mine on Vivid Seats like a month ago.
Oh wow. Oh, that's
Yeah.
probably why, because you bought it a month ago. It's always a little bit cheaper if you buy it earlier.
I mean, sometimes they just go down if they want to sell them last minute. But
Yeah,
even
that's true.
even so, I mean, even if you went to like MLB.com, you still could get tickets for a pretty reasonable clip for the Baltimore team.
Well, that's good. I like it. I like it when ballparks try to work with people in order to. I mean, there are 160 games, and just because your team's in the thick of it doesn't mean you should be, price gouging. I
Yeah,
think
don't tell that to the Red
personally. So,
Sox fans, man.
no, yeah, I know. So, but with
Yeah.
Red Sox fans, you can sit in the bleachers and learn some new words. So,
Yes. Words we're not going to say on the show, but Jared Duran might say.
you can engage in some casual racism. It's all sorts of fun in
Yes.
Boston.
So back to Camden Yards. They actually had a statue of Babe Ruth outside the ballpark because Babe
Oh, that's pretty
Ruth
cool.
is actually a Baltimorean.
Oh, I did
I don't know
not
if
know
that's
that.
an actual word, but
Yeah,
he's from
it is
Baltimore.
now. So
Yeah. And nearby, they also had a statue of Brooks Robinson,
okay.
and the statue had a gold glove on it, which was really cool.
Oh, nice. That's pretty rad.
Yeah, it was kind of like a landmark to help me actually end up finding my way back because when I left out a different exit of the ballpark.
Oh, gotcha.
So I kind of knew where I was after that. But
Did you
it's
stay
a
in like
nice.
downtown Baltimore proper, or
I
you
mean, I
stay?
walked around a little bit down there. I was trying to kill some time before my hotel checked in, and then like I got there early to the game because I wanted the freaking bobblehead.
Yeah, yeah.
Gunnar Henderson's a popular guy down there. He's
Yeah,
obviously
I could imagine. So.
obviously going to be their MVP candidate for the season.
Dude, I'm looking like an idiot because I could have had him. I chose Ellie De La Cruz instead of him, and I should have drafted him because apparently Ellie's just not going to steal any more bases. So he got to 40 and was like, I'm done.
I mean, 80.
Well, he wanted to get to 80, but he's at
He
like what?
stopped.
He's like only at 50. He's been at 50 for like ever, I think.
Um. Well, let me look it up now. I want to see where he's at.
Yeah.
So Ellie De La Cruz is actually at 61 stolen bases.
Yeah, well, he's not stealing enough because I'm losing that category every week. So you could let him know for me. So.
Well, Corbin Carroll, I thought he'd be stealing more bases, but he keeps hitting triples and home runs right now. He's not like hitting enough singles.
Oh, that's fine, for you, I guess.
I
But
know.
yeah, Shohei
Hey,
Ohtani,
I'm
he's the
gonna lose
fastest.
this week, man. I'm losing this week. So.
Well, I'm lucky if I'm going to make the playoffs, I think. So.
Oh no, you're gonna be in there, dude. I wouldn't
Yeah.
about that.
If my team could just bat their batting cards 1 week, I would just absolutely crush. But they decide that they just want to go like 0 for 15 every time, and it never quite works out. But
I think you're far enough ahead to hold on to a playoff spot.
well, yeah.
But Ohtani is at 44 and 43 home runs to stolen bases, respectively. So he's going for 50-50, and he hit 40-40 faster than anybody ever has.
Yeah, see, 126 games, and Alfonso Soriano was the fastest before that, and his was 147, so almost by like a whole entire month, essentially.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I think
that's pretty
Ohtani.
crazy. And it was a walk-off grand slam. I mean, just in dramatic, of course, it's Shohei Ohtani. So if it's not dramatic fashion, then it doesn't count. So
Yeah, and apparently nobody had ever even done 42 and 42 before, and Ohtani's already eclipsed that.
yeah, so he has more than a month to get to 45, 45. And that was, people were super excited for that to happen. But you're right. He has a very legitimate chance of getting to 50-50, which would be great to see since Ronald Acuna Jr. only got to 40-70 last year. So
Yeah. Well, anyway, back to Camden Yards. So Camden Yards is one of those crown jewel ballparks, and that by reputation, that's what I had all heard going in, and it did not disappoint. Camden Yards is a great place to watch a game. The vibe of the stadium is gotten better since obviously the team's gotten better. It was a completely packed house for the game.
nice.
Great vibes, great ballpark, lots of good views. The game itself was tremendous. I got to see Jose Altuve hit a home run and get
Awesome.
booed out of the ballpark.
Yes, perfect.
I got to see Colton Cowser hit a home run and get mooed out of the ballpark.
Yes, booed and then mooed. I read something the other day really quickly about Mini Me, and he got called up just to be a fill-in second baseman until they could find someone else. And then here we are, 10 years later, he's one of the best in the league. So,
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah, I did hear that.
yeah.
Jeremy Pena, he actually hit a home run into the left field.
Oh,
of that
awesome.
ballpark, which is crazy because they
Yeah.
pushed that they pushed that wall back, and that
Well,
was like
and he's not known for his power either, especially this year. So,
yeah. I mean, but when you see him, when you see him in person though, like he is jacked. He's a giant
oh,
dude.
really?
Yeah, he has
Oh,
got
okay. Because he
guns,
looks
legit
small on
guns on his
TV. He's one of
arms.
those guys who looks small on TV. So,
Yeah, yeah, he looks small, but if you actually see like up close, it's like he's got guns. He's got the gun show going on there.
2 tickets. All right.
Yeah, and then the game it was I believe 5-2 or yeah 5-2 I believe in the eighth inning. You got
Uh-huh.
Kimbrel out there. Everybody's like laughing at Kimbrel because he's doing his little pose,
Yeah.
and gets him out of the jam. In the
Uh-huh.
next inning, they get the bases loaded on Brian Abreu with no outs, and
Uh-huh.
Anthony Santander hits a grand slam,
Oh,
and the
geez.
place just exploded after that.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, that's right.
I
'Cause
thought the Astros were going to win.
he had a hundred. I looked at his ERA. I sent a picture to either Jeff or the league. It was 135 that day after giving up that grand slam.
Yeah, I think he gave up an additional run too.
Yeah, it was not his day. That's for sure. Not his week, actually. So,
Yeah. So, do you want to guess what song that the Baltimore Orioles play during their seventh inning stretch? Because they actually do play a song.
I don't have a guess. What is it?
It's "Thank God I'm a Country Boy" by John Denver.
Really?
Yeah,
That seems very random, but
it
okay.
is, and I don't know why they started doing this, but they started playing. I googled it. They started playing that song back in the 70s.
So, I mean, there had to have been a reason in the 70s, I guess, to start doing it, but I can't imagine why.
I don't know. It was like the first thing I was thinking about was Baltimore ain't a country boy kind of place.
Yeah, now it's more like a wire type place.
Yeah. I mean, you were the one that really kind of like really pushed me to do the trip the way that I did it, and to still go to this game and everything.
Yeah, well,
And
I'm happy that you had fun. So,
yeah, yeah, and I googled it. Like apparently John Denver went to sing "Thank God I'm a Country Boy" during the World Series that they were in back, I believe, in 1980, 1982,
okay.
1983, one of the 2 years that they were there.
Nice. All right. So now, okay, it's starting to make sense now
But
then.
they were doing it for years before that, and then John Denver just came because they were in the World Series.
Huh. Well,
And
oh, so he's like, oh, since you're playing my song, I'll actually sing it live in the World Series.
yeah, it's one of those moments like when the Boston bombing happened and Neil Diamond just showed up unannounced to sing "Sweet Caroline" at the first home game.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Okay. Yeah.
And there's another strange thing because John Denver was also performing at the went to a Baltimore Orioles game and sang the song because at a game because I guess he was performing that night or something at one of the arenas in Baltimore. But this is like a few weeks before he died.
Oh, wow.
He was
Okay.
back in Baltimore doing it. So I think he was only there twice, and the second time was right before he died.
Oh, okay. Well, again, then I guess, keep the tradition alive. So,
But for those of you in Baltimore, I'd love to know if you know what the origins are and why that song just particularly took off. Because Baltimore just again doesn't strike me as a country boy kind of place. That would be like more of a Midwest type team that would say that,
yeah, you'd think like the Cards could probably get away with
or maybe
it.
like Cincinnati,
Yeah, or
or
the Royals. So,
yeah, one of the Missouri teams could do that.
yeah.
So when I was walking back from the game, this was like 10:30 at night, and I was about, a block or so from my hotel. I could hear somebody behind me saying, excuse me. And I'll be honest, I ran right after that happened because it was like 10:30 at night on a Friday.
Yeah.
I was far enough away from the stadium that it was kind of in the little nervous area, and I was like, "Yeah, excuse me, I would like to rob you." No thanks. I'm out of here.
Did you look back to see who it was, or you
No,
just you just
I
took
did
off?
not look back. I saw that the street in front of me, the light was gonna the walk sign was gonna turn red, and
Uh-huh.
so I just like bolted and then got across like right as the thing was gonna, you know,
Perfect.
gonna go the other side of the street, the traffic. So like I was safe.
Yeah.
I
Oh.
stayed at this boutique hotel in Baltimore called Ulysses. It's kind
Hmm.
of like an older hotel, but it was everything was like super dark and ambient and kind of like cool about it.
Yeah, moody.
Yeah, yeah, very moody, had like black toilets.
Oh,
And
weird.
yeah, it was a boutique hotel. It advertised
Yeah.
itself as such. The
Okay.
hotel that I stayed back when I was in Washington the second time around, that was a trendy hotel, and I didn't realize trendy meant like boutique in a different way.
Oh, well, what's the difference between a trendy and a boutique hotel?
A little more modern, I would
Okay.
say. Um, the hotel like had an iPad to like turn the TV on and turn the lighting and stuff on.
Okay. So it's like technology driven or whatever.
Well, yeah, that and like the do not disturb sign. I really should have sent you photos of some of this stuff because I wasn't sure if we were talking about this or not. But like
Yeah.
the do not disturb sign actually had like do not come in. There's somebody naked in here. That's what it
That's
said.
so awesome.
And it had like a photo of a woman with a towel covering herself.
Perfect. Yeah, you definitely should have taken a photo of that.
I did take a photo. I just didn't. I haven't sent it to you.
Okay, yeah.
And there was a video of in the elevators. There was a video that would play of a guy wearing underwear and red like shiny shoes, just dancing.
That's so random.
Just so random. The guy and it was obviously dancing in front of like a green screen, and it had some like, other stuff in the background. It was like kind of like almost like a throne room type thing. But
It's even
just
weirder.
just random guy dancing, no sound, no context, just this guy dancing, and I'm like, okay.
And red shoes in a throne room,
I'm like,
and
this hotel was not designed for me.
yeah,
I'm a little too old. I don't need my hotel to have mood lighting. And I could
yeah.
have had like mood lighting for like dream states and stuff. And you could change the color of the light above the shower.
Hmm. I mean, yeah.
Yeah. And these guys are like a chain hotel, but the location itself of the hotel was great compared to like it
Okay.
was closer to the National Mall, and the
Oh
gym
yeah,
there
I've never
was
been to the
great.
National Mall. I've just only seen I've only been to see all the sites, and then I accidentally took a picture at the back of the Pentagon, which I didn't even know it had a back since it's just a Pentagon.
Yeah.
And I was with my grandma. We got our whole entire camera confiscated.
Oh wow. Yeah, I mean, I would say next couple years might be an interesting time to go because they are doing actually a lot of renovations right now around the monuments.
Oh, okay.
They're getting ready for the 250th anniversary of the Declaration of Independence. So they're trying to get everything
Yeah,
done
that's
for
right.
like,
That is coming up. That's two
yeah,
years from now. Yeah.
yeah, they're trying to get that done for July of 2026.
Yeah.
So they got to give Lincoln a new nose job and,
Oh yeah,
yeah,
facelift probably.
yeah, give Jefferson a facelift, Um,
Washington will need some new dental implants, not the wood ones that he had. So.
yeah, the Washington Monument's one you actually got to like really plan it in advance to go to that one because that one has popular written all over it.
Oh, really? Okay.
Either that or you got to like go over to the thing at like first thing in the morning and hope that nobody is like bought it out. And the one day I had to go and really look at exhibits, I looked there, it was on Sunday, and I
Okay.
was too busy. I wasn't gonna wake up at like 8 in the morning and go down there.
Yeah, I just watched the Simpsons episode where Lisa goes to Washington, D.C. She tries to ask Lincoln for advice, but it's too crowded. So she winds up at the Jefferson Monument and no one's there. And the statue of Jefferson is like begging her to stay to give her advice.
Yeah, the thing is, like, Jefferson's kind of off by himself. You kind of have
Yeah.
to walk like an extra mile away from Lincoln, and it's
Oh,
like
okay.
kind of on his own little island and everything. There's a lot of water around there.
Yeah.
But I got to visit FDR's monument along the way, and Martin Luther King had one down there too.
Oh, cool.
So yeah, definitely go down to DC, but be mindful the next couple of years that they're doing renovations down
Yeah.
there.
Or just wait 2 years when they're all done. So
Yeah, I imagine it's going to be a chaotic experience down in Washington during the 4th of July.
oh yeah, I was
Right.
probably chaotic every 4th of July, but especially for
Oh
that.
yeah. But the weather was nice, although apparently it got over 100 after I left,
Oh wow. Okay.
which was brutal. And I'm gonna talk about this more on my other podcast. But the National Postal Museum had a ton of baseball exhibits and stuff in it.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
They had a bat of Babe Ruth from 1920.
Nice. That Babe mailed somewhere, I'm assuming.
It was really, I gotta remember what they were doing, but they had some special like triple header game that they made stamps of, and that's what
Oh,
a
okay.
lot of the exhibits like they had were like based on stamps that they made.
Oh, okay, that makes sense.
They had like a stamp from the shot heard around the world.
Yeah.
They had like a stamp of Lefty Grove for I think his 300th win.
Oh, nice. Okay.
So they had like the photo of what they put on the stamp. They had like the larger version of it. And then they'd have some of the props and stuff that were related to that as well.
Oh, okay.
And then they had like bricks from Wrigley Field, Comiskey Field, and some of the other
Oh, that's
things.
pretty cool. Yeah.
Yeah. So if you're a baseball fan and you want to see that exhibit, I would definitely go down to the National Postage Museum. It's right next to the train station.
Oh man, I could
Oh,
two birds, one stone that. So
yeah.
yeah.
So that's all that I've got for this week. Do you have anything you want to discuss, Shane?
Oh yeah, I mean, really quickly on the same day that Otani goes 40-40, my boy Trevor Bauer in the Mexican League sets a record of 19 strikeouts in a game. 8.2
Wow.
innings pitched, 5 hits, 1 earned run, 1 base on ball, 19 swords.
Well, that's a pretty good performance there from Bauer.
Yeah,
Really.
who will never play in MLB again because Fred Manfred is a little fill in the blank there. So,
Yeah, Robin doesn't want him back playing.
yeah.
And on that note, we'll call it an episode. We'll see you guys next week. Looking forward to talking more about baseball and having a more regular themed show versus just the travel show. But I would definitely make the trip to go see these ballparks. Just maybe try to go to a Baltimore day game.
Gotcha. Baltimore day game heard.
All right. See you guys.
Bye now.